Sergeant Flynn. Oh, he shouts attention.
Attention!
Here comes Mr. Geyser. He's older and he's wiser, reading Bible verses every day. Jesus wept, Jesus wept, Jesus wept. Here comes Mr. Geyser. He's older and he's wiser, read the Bible with him today. Jesus wept, Jesus wept, Jesus wept.
What time it is?
Yay!
Story!
Yeah!
Story.
Missionary story time. That's right. I'm Missionary, and we're going to hop right into our missionary story today. We don't have time to tell all the stories, but there was one particular woman. She was kind of the ringleader. She was always causing trouble. She had a terrible mouth. I believe her name was I don't know how to say it. It's a hard name. I think it said Gircha. But
What's it spelled like?
How do I spell it? I don't know. I don't remember how to spell it.
Never
What do
mind.
you want from me, Otto?
Oh, I mean, I could
Do
probably
you
pronounce
think
it.
I'm a school teacher or a missionary storyteller? It's okay. I'll let it go. Okay.
Okay,
So her
I didn't
name
know there
was
was a difference.
Gicha, and she had a terrible mouth, and she was always causing trouble. She was always making dirty jokes. And one day she was picking on one of the women there really bad, and that woman was actually blind. She couldn't see. And Gicha was just picking on this woman and making fun of her and being mean to her and all this. And Andrew walked up on it, and usually he wouldn't say anything, remember? He'd always take the information back and be like, this is what's going on to deal with. But this particular day, he was like, no, I'm not having it. And the reason why is he just felt like he felt the Lord telling him, say something. And he's like, but what do I say? And the Lord was like, say something. So he just piped up and he said, Gicha, close your mouth. He said, shut up, no more of that. And she stopped and she just looked at him. She was completely shocked. And then he said, Gicha, tomorrow I want you on the bus that's going to the tent meeting. And she just looked at him in shock, and then she goes, okay. And that was the end of it. She didn't make any more dirty jokes the rest of the day. It was very strange. So the next day, he went to the bus, and sure enough, she was there, and she was ready to go to the tent meeting. And he thought, well, that's crazy. I didn't expect her to show up. But she did. And she went to the tent meeting. The whole time she was there, she made fun. She made the dirty jokes. She did all the things. But at the end of the tent meeting, they drove back on the bus, and as they got off, he grabbed his bike. Remember, he still can't walk? And he grabbed his bike, and they were about to leave, and he said, you know what? Why don't you ride with me on my bike, and I'll take you home? And she was like, she looked at him like, I don't know. It might be better to just pay the bus fare to go all the way home instead of having to listen to him preach at me all the way home. But she agreed to go with him, and they got on the bike, and they began to ride home. And he was ready. He's like, oh, I'm going to preach to her good. I'm ready. And he was about to start telling her all these things. And once again, it was like the Lord speaking to him, and he said, be quiet. And it was very different from the last time when he was like, speak up and chew her out, you know. So Andrew was like, okay. So he got quiet, rode all the way home. They talked about the flowers. They talked about the tulips that they saw. They talked about how they both had to eat tulip bulbs whenever they were during World War II and how that had helped them stay alive during that time. But he didn't bring up a single thing about the meeting. He didn't preach about anything. He didn't talk about God at all the whole way home. The next day, though, when they got to the chocolate factory, something was very different. She had a whole new attitude about her. The way she talked, the way she spoke. She was kind to other people. She wasn't making dirty jokes. As a result, y'all might remember I said she was the ringleader. Nobody else was making dirty jokes. It was just completely different. They sat down for lunch, and she approached Andrew, and Gicha said, can I sit with you? And so they sat down, they began to talk, and she told him how she'd expected him to preach at her all the way home, but he didn't. And when he got home, she thought, well, maybe he thinks I'm too far gone. I'm too far away from God for even God to listen to me. And that's why he didn't talk to me. And as she laid there in bed that night, the Lord worked on her heart, and she gave her heart to Christ that night. She said she cried almost the whole night long, but when she woke up in the morning, she was a new creature. She just felt the weight taken off of her. So that was the first of the converts that Andrew had thought would never change. and she was the first one who truly changed for the Lord. And this was a very exciting time for Andrew. And he actually, shortly after that, was offered a new job in the chocolate factory. And as a result, he was able to talk to many more people in the factory, not just the people on his line. He was able to actually interview everyone. He was given a job to interview people to find out where they would do best in the factory. So he talked to everyone, and he always found an opportunity to tell them about Christ. We're almost out of time, but it was around then that y'all might remember Teal, okay, his girlfriend. She began to tell him, what you need to do is you need to get a college education so that you can become a missionary. You need to go to a Christian college. And he's like, okay, I could do that. But then when he realized that for him to do this, not only would he have to finish his high school diploma, which he hadn't been able to do because of the war. Y'all remember the war started when he was like 11 years old and he dropped out of school. And then he'd have to go to college, and it was going to take 12 years for him to be able to graduate from a Christian college. And that seemed overwhelming to him. But Teal didn't seem to mind at all that it was going to take a long time to get to the mission field. And so she was like, well, this is what you need to do. And so he was like, well, if it's what I need to do, I better get started. So he got started, and there were many things he experienced throughout that time as he began to study. But he met someone, and he began to tell him how he felt like it was just wasting time, and he just wanted to serve the Lord, and he wanted to get started right away. And he knew he needed to learn the Bible, but 12 years seemed excessive to have to study before you could become a missionary. And this friend told him, well, you sound like the people from WEC. And he's like, well, what's that? And it was a worldwide evangelistic society. I can't talk. It's okay. So it was a group of missionaries their goal was to reach people for the Lord, and that they had a 2-year plan to teach the Bible and to teach life skills for people to be able to go out as missionaries. And then they would help people go out as missionaries. And Andrew was kind of nervous. He's like, I don't know, that sounds strange. But he started looking into it. He started asking questions. Keys heard about it, and he was like, that's for me. And he signed up immediately and immediately started college. And Andrew continued to pray and ask God. And one day he went out and he sat on the wharf and he began to pray, and he began to ask God for wisdom about what to do, whether to pursue this shorter college plan or whether to continue on this 12-year plan that he'd been told about. He began to pray and he began to ask God for wisdom, and he was like, God, why can't I seem to get the answer to what I should do? And Andrew realized in that moment he had not fully given himself to God. He had said he did, but it was always with a if you will type thing, or a but I can't. So I'll be a missionary, but I'm not educated. I'll be a missionary, but I have this leg problem, like I can't walk right, And so there was always a but God had the biggest plan for him. And in that moment, Andrew said, okay, Lord, whatever your plan is, I'm willing to do it. Wherever you send me, I'm willing to go, whether educated or whether not, whether in pain from my leg or whether not, I am ready to go. And that is exactly what Andrew did. He got up to begin to go. And as he stood up, he suddenly felt this sharp pain in his ankle, in his leg from where that wound was. And as he got up, this sharp pain shot through his leg, and he almost fell down from it. And then he stood up, and as he stood on his foot again, at first he was afraid that he'd torn something in that old wound, but then suddenly the pain was completely gone. All the pain he'd been feeling was completely gone, and he began to walk. And then he began to run, something he thought he would never do again. And the Lord had healed his leg. And next week, we're going to talk about the next step he took of yes.
Hey, I got something to say.
Yes, what do you want to say, Mr. Geyser?
He had an extremely dangerous job at the chocolate factory.
Why was it extremely dangerous?
Taking chocolate from women.
Oh, it's true.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's true. It's not safe. You don't want to do it.
So can we get chocolate now?
Sure, I'll get you some chocolate as soon as we're done with the video, and I'll go get it for you.
All right, let's go to the factory.
Let's go.
Yeah!